Mercury will be in retrograde from July 18th through August 11th. Now, this retrograde this time around, okay, is not going to feel as harsh as the last retrograde in Pisces. However, we are in heavy retrograde energy, so I'm sure, we all probably will get some energy confused with Mercury. The retrograde that is going to kick us in the butt will actually be Saturn retrograde, which is also happening right now as Mercury is in retrograde. Okay, hooray, hooray. However, Mercury itself is not going to be so harsh. Okay, Mercury is not going to talk to many other planets while in retrograde, so we are fortunate enough to have at least that. Okay, there are two aspects that happen while Mercury directly to Mercury while Mercury is in retrograde. Okay, there's a conjunction with the sun. All right. And then at the beginning of the retrograde, there is sextile energy to Venus. Okay. So it's not, it's not any terrible aspects or things that, not square energy, right? There's no square energy to this retrograde. It's just sextile, which is opportunities that will present themselves. That's not good or bad. It's just opportunities, period. And then a conjunction is working together with the sun. The sun is coming in, and shining a light on Mercury, and we got to figure out what that is. Okay, so there's really only two aspects that we really need to worry about in Mercury retrograde. Hooray! Now, Mercury retrograde is going to bring opportunities, right? Because every retrograde has its purpose, okay? So this retrograde, Mercury being in Leo, is going to bring opportunities to kind of refine your creative activities or the things that you do, the things that you take pride in, how you think about things. This could be how you perceive things, like how your mind can be a bit dramatic, or how your mind can be creative, how you can refine that energy. Okay, it can be around how you've shown up to communication or how your logic is processed, based in ego and pride. Opportunities to kind of reflect, restructure, or repair energy as it relates to how you communicate, and the pride that you communicate in, the ego that you communicate in. Okay, this will bring opportunities for us to reflect on, repair, restructure, energy around us showing up as if we know everything, right? We have all the answers. We just know, because Leo energy, my pride, my ego, I just know. I'm wrong, though. You're wrong. What are you talking about? You're wrong. I'm right. It's opportunities for you to kind of take a step back and change your perspective. Okay, so this is the energy of Mercury retrograde in Leo. Okay, those Leo attributes, which is pride, ego, charisma, creativity, drama. All right, and how your mind is processing based on those attributes, right? That is what's coming back to us in retrograde. So let's jump right into the signs. Again, I'm going to do my whole spiel. This will be most accurate if you look at this based on your rising sign, okay? Because this will encompass where this energy will show up in your life, okay? But if you want to look at this from your sun or your moon sign, your sun sign would be in relation to your perspective, your focus, your attitude, your ego, and your pride, okay? And if you're looking at this from a moon perspective, this will be reflective in like your home, your internal security, your instincts, and your intuition and your emotions. Okay, so that's how you will process it. But your rising sign, right, is most accurate to understand where or what will be popping up. Okay, so let's jump right into it. All right, Cancer. So Mercury retrograde is going to be happening in your second house. Okay, that is your second house of Leo. All right, so this energy is, you know, for you could be a little rough because the second house is actually ruled by Taurus. It's in the realm of Leo. Okay, so that's fire and earth, right? And the interaction between, you know, how it is you value something, right? And how your pride, ego, courage, you know, magnificence, your creativity play a part in that. Okay, how it is that you value. All right, so as Mercury goes into retrograde, it's only going to be a 3-week period, and it's only going to have two aspects. It's only going to talk to two separate planets / stars, right? And then we're done with what Mercury has to say as it relates to retrograde. And I'm not saying like it's going to be an easy thing, because we also have Saturn retrograde, we have Neptune retrograde, we have Pluto retrograde happening all at the same time. Okay, so we got plenty of other things to keep us busy. Mercury has been fortunate enough to spare us with such harsh retrograde activity. Okay, all right, great. So now, let's start with the first aspect, okay? The first aspect is a sextile to Venus in your 12th house, okay? So Venus in Gemini in your 12th house, which is ruled by Pisces, all right? So this is air and this is water, okay? And this is a conversation around how you self-sabotage, right? And this could be an ego thing, this can be arrogance, this can be your curious ways, okay? This is like your imagination, all right? Gemini represents your mind, right? And the 12th house, in a sense, also it represents your subconscious. So not necessarily your conscious mind, but your subconscious mind, like what it is that you desire. So there's heavy emphasis here on things that you imagine, right? You being able to create what it is that you want or what it is that you imagine, but how your ego or your pride interferes with that because of how you place value on things, because it could be because of your resources. Okay, so there's an emphasis here with this sextile energy of Mercury talking to Venus. All right, because we're talking about Mercury retrograde. So Mercury is in the second house, and Mercury is looking at how your mind works as it relates to your possessions or your resources, okay, the value systems that you have, and how that aligns with your pride, ego, arrogance, creativity, courage, or your charisma, right? So now Venus is in the 12th house, taking a look at your desires, your fears, your worries, your imagination, things happening behind the scenes, things happening in your subconscious. And Venus is going to be like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to send this information over to Mercury, right? I'm going to let Mercury know that, you know, what they want is this. Now, Mercury is going to take a look at your second house, right? And see how that energy interacts, right? Because at the end of the day, we're being guided by an invisible force. That's just really what it is. And if you don't believe that, then why are you here? I'm just kidding. But I would hope that we understand. We're guided by something. I would hope that we all know we're guided by something, right? So now Venus is like, all right, this is what's happening in the realm of imagination. This is what they want to create. Like, let's make it happen. This is what will make them happy. This is what will bring joy and peace and harmony. And Venus is going to talk to Mercury like, yeah, this is what they thinking about right now. Let's make it happen. And in that second house, right, there's always this invisible guide that we're following, and I'm trying not to use a specific word because I know that we all have different spiritual or religious beliefs, right? So this our invisible guide, right, knows what it is that we really truly want, right? And our invisible guide really tries to help us attain that, right? And so think about all of these planets as our invisible guides, helpers, right? So Venus is like, this is what they want. This is what will bring happiness, peace, joy, and abundance to them, right? And Mercury is in the second house, like, okay, well, logistically, does this really work based on how they value? So like if they really want, let's say, you know, if they really want $1 million, right, and they want to live a life of luxury, right, I'm over here in the second house and I am looking at, you know, their value systems and, you know, living a life of luxury, but they spend all of their money on food. Like, I know that they want this lifestyle, and I know you Venus, you're telling me this, and I hear you, but all they want is food. Well, maybe this is something that I could bubble up into reality to show them, like, maybe they need to take a step back on buying all the food if they want to, you know, if they want to have this $1 million. Like, I know that I don't think they're quite ready to have the $1 million because I fear that they're going to spend that whole $1 million on food. And I don't know that that is the right choice. So maybe in this moment, you know, maybe in this moment, we start having a conversation around your spending on food, because if you want to be a millionaire and have all of these things, but you can't keep no money because you spending it on food and drinks and all the good things, regardless of what you have, maybe that's not the type of thing we need to create. That's what Mercury is going to be doing, okay? So that's the second house, your house of value versus what it is that you want, your subconscious, what you dream, what you desire, right? What it is you want to grab onto. It's also your illusions or your delusions as well, right? So this is kind of like, okay, Venus and Mercury are having a conversation, and it's like, okay, this might be possible, but first we have to do some reevaluation of what's happening here in this house, because it's not going to work together. That is what Mercury retrograde and that sextile between that second and that 12th house is going to bring in for you as Mercury hits retrograde on the 18th, okay? Now, next we have next and last, right, on the 31st, we have a conjunction between Mercury and the Sun. Now, if we take it back to Venus in Gemini in your 12th house, right, the Sun and Mercury already had a conversation there at the end of May. The Sun and Mercury had a conjunction in that 12th house. So the Sun and Mercury kind of already know what it is that you want. They seen it, right? Earlier this year, the desires and all the stuff bubbling up there, they seen it. Now Venus is like, okay, this is what they want. And now the Sun and Mercury going to be back together, and the Sun now has traveled from the 12th house to the 1st house to the 2nd house, right? And now the Sun is like, well, I don't know, because in this 1st house, this is what's happening within self, you know, their appearance, you know, their this, their that, their attitude, their focus, right? And in the 2nd house, and then their value, their focus is on food. Mercury, the Sun is like, pulls out the flashlight. Their focus is on food. It's not on, like, you know, creating a good lifestyle for themselves that will eventually grow into something better. It's on food. So how are we going to give them this if all they thinking about is food and drinks, right? It's that type of energy. So now the Sun, which has traveled from Gemini to Cancer in that 1st house to Leo in that 2nd house, okay? And so has Mercury. All right, now Venus is still back there, and she like, look, Venus ain't seen all the other stuff. Venus is back in that 12th house like, look, this is what they want. Like, let's bring them peace. But Mercury and the Sun, no, they know. They're not ready for that just yet. But let's bring in some lessons or opportunities for them to kind of adjust or realign themselves. Like, maybe we don't need to look at food and drinks all the time. Maybe instead we need to start, you know, investing in XYZ, or maybe, you know, you could choose to upgrade whatever electronics, or buy a new phone, or, you know, save, put some money in a savings account, whatever that is for you, right? This is kind of like a realignment and adjustment, so that that 12th house where Venus is sitting and that 2nd house where you find value, this is kind of like what it is that you desire versus how it is you are, right? There needs to be some recalibration. So the Sun and Mercury will have another conversation after Mercury had its conversation with Venus, you know, a few days prior, okay? So there's an emphasis here on the Sun shining a light, right? Because this is still in that 2nd house, which is your house of value, your house of resource, right? in the realm of Leo, right? Which is your courage that you have here, your charisma or magnificence, your creativity, your arrogance, your pride, your ego, right? How that interferes or interacts, right? So if you want to be a millionaire, but for some reason, every time you get a few dollars, you're materialistic. So you feel like you got to go out and spend that on something else. Mercury will bring in opportunities for you to reevaluate that activity. Like, why are you doing this in the first place? Are you doing this because of your pride? Do you want to look a specific way? Because it does, this has passed by your first house. Is it because you want to look a certain way? Is it because you want to come off a certain way? And how does that tie into your illusions or your imagination, your delusions of what's happening in your life? Okay, so Mercury honestly will be pretty light, Cancer. Because again, we have so many other retrogrades that are happening right now. Mercury is kind of, I'm a adjust this and I'm gonna adjust that. Then I'm gonna get on up out of here, right? Because we got all the other big hitters tearing your butt up. Okay. So I hope this reaches you well, Cancer.